Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 1st, 2024 Cuyahoga County Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee meeting. Janine, would you please call roll?
And just as a reminder to all who are in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Mr. Byrne,
Here.
Mr. Miller,
Here.
Ms. Conwell,
Present.
Mr. Sweeney,
Present.
Ms. Turner.
Present.
There is a quorum.
Thank you, Janine. Do we have any public comment today?
No, Mr. Chair, no one has signed in.
All right. And I need a motion to approve the minutes from the April 17th, 2024 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 5, Janine.
Vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Dale. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Excellent. We'll move on to item number 5A, Janine.
Resolution number 2024-0162, authorizing an initial project application to Ohio Department of Transportation State Infrastructure Bank for a loan in the amount not to exceed $14,400,000 to finance a portion of the replacement of Rockside Road Bridge number 03.23 and bridge number 03.32 over the Cuyahoga River in the City of Independence and the Village of Valley View.
Good morning, Nicole English with Public Works. So this piece of legislation is in order for NOACA to apply to the State Infrastructure Bank, they require a resolution from the project sponsor, which is us. So that's what we are here to present. So NOACA has sponsored our project with federal funds up to $14.4 million, but their funding strategy to supply that money is to go to the State Infrastructure Bank and then pay it back over time. And so NOACA will be responsible for the payment of the 14.4. However, us as the county, as the project sponsor, we are responsible of 20% of the fees, so the closing fees, and the 3% interest that will be charged on the loan. So that's our piece and why we are a party to the application. Happy to answer any questions. This project is not ready quite yet for construction. It would go later this year and start construction probably next spring, but this is the prep in order to get the money in order.
Thanks, Nicole. Any questions or comments?
I have a question. Mr. Chairman, Ms. English, what would be your estimate of the amount of fees and the amount of interest that we would incur?
We asked NOACA to give us an estimate of that. It's 3% interest, so I guess we could calculate it if I was quick of a finance person. But typically, I'm looking at an old loan that we paid, you know, the for around the same amount was around, you know, $80,000 was the total per year payment, and then we owe 20% of that. So it depends on how long they take the loan over. Sometimes they'll take a 10-year, a 15-year. They can go up to 30, but it's really NOACA's figuring out their financing plan as to how they can pay it back. So I can get back to you on more accurate amounts.
And how much would the fees be?
The closing fees are normally around 1%. But again, I can get you that full information. And until, this is just our application to the SIB, there will be an agreement that comes forward that we'll have to pass as well, and that will have all the details of the actual interest rates, closing costs, all that.
Okay.
Councilwoman?
Yes, through the chair to Ms. English. How is it calculated, the cost of various different size bridges? How do they come up with those estimates? What are they basing that on?
Good question. It's hard. Bridges are hard. So roads are easier because they're pretty standard on lane miles and width, and you know what's going into them. Bridges are all a little bit unique, so they look at historic data. ODOT keeps a whole database on every project they've sold, and so you kind of look at what material costs are, how much you paid for maintenance of traffic, how long the project is going to last, and the engineers just do their best bet. It's based on material costs, but then bridges are complicated, right? So you're putting in some risk factors on what you think it's going to take for the contractor to actually construct. So the engineers do their estimate, and again, based on materials, but then adding in those other factors as best they see.
And how do they keep a contingency fund or anything if someone should get hurt on those bridges? How is?
Not necessarily for if someone were to get hurt, but we do keep a contingency in the engineer's estimate. As we go in the design, it's like a bigger contingency up front, and then the further we get in design, we squeeze the contingency down when we think we have a better idea. But there is a contingency normally listed around 5% that we'll put in the estimate just to cover any kind of things that might happen, overages, new things that you discover when you all of a sudden dig in a hole and you find something. But I wouldn't say necessarily if someone were to get hurt. I mean, that's covered mostly by insurance if something were to happen, but not the project cost.
And one more question through the chair, is this a total replacement?
These ones there's 2 bridges actually on this piece, so.
Thank you.
This will be a big, 21 million is the total cost for the project. The 14.4 is the amount of federal funds that we have. So it's a big project.
Anyone else with any questions or comments?
Yes,
Councilman?
I have a follow-up question. With the 14.4 being the federal portion, where will the rest of the funds come to get us to 21 million?
We have received Ohio Public Works Issue 1 grant for 4.6 million of it, and then that would leave the county 1.98 million is coming out of Road and Bridge.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? So Nicole, this moves on for second reading then?
Yes, if it could go second reading suspension, I think NOACA is a bit eager to get this down to the state because the bank is kind of on a revolving, when it has money, it's open, and then if it doesn't have money to give out, it closes. So we would respectfully ask for that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to favorably recommend 2024-0162 for second reading suspension.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, Nicole. With that, we're moving on to item 5B. Janine?
Resolution number 2024-0163, making an award on requisition number 13888 to Northeast Ohio Trenching Service in the amount not to exceed $1,574,530.44 for the elimination of Chagrin River Road Bridge number 02.40 over Deer Lake Creek in the village of Bentleyville.
Nicole English again with Public Works. So this is a construction award for Chagrin River Road bridge removal. So this is a bridge that had a general appraisal rating of 3, which is pretty low, as you know. And so we were looking at a replacement. And then as we looked at the project, there seemed to be a way that we could eliminate the bridge and sort of reroute the road, and we wouldn't need to cross the river anymore. And so we worked with the Metro Parks and Bentleyville on this plan. And so what that brings to us is, in the future, we don't have a bridge on our inventory that we have to take care of, so it would no longer be something that we have to do into the future. So that's what we're doing on this project. We put it out to bid. We received 3 total bids. The engineer's estimate was 1.5 million. This is the lowest bid at a little bit over 1.569, so 4.6% over the engineer's estimate. There was diversity goals set by DEI, and they are compliant. The prime is an SBE themselves, and they're meeting the MBE and WBE goals. Overall, the project funding is funded 69% out of County Road and Bridge, and then we were successful in receiving 31% from Ohio Public Works Issue 1. So a little under $500,000 will be funded out of Public Works, or the Public Works Commission. So, but the good news is, once we build or remove the bridge, we no longer have a bridge in our inventory to take care of.
Any questions or comments for Nicole? Councilwoman?
Through the chair to Nicole, have we ever, this is the first time I've ever seen that we've eliminated a bridge?
Rare. You know, normally you don't have, it's there for a reason, right? You don't have an option. But this one we looked through, there was a Metro Parks parking lot that we were able to kind of snake the road through and then give the Metro Parks back some land where they can there's horse trails that move through here. So they were really interested in that. So it's rare. It's just something we look at because, again, the cost of bridges is going up and up as we go. So if there's an opportunity to do something a little bit different. We did do it recently on South Green, where it was kind of a side hill bridge that once we replaced it, it no longer was considered a bridge because of how we made it more of a retaining wall. So we have done one recently I can think of, but very rare.
So in that case, when we eliminate and then there's a road, does it fall on the city to?
It does.
Okay.
It does, because if they're incorporated. So the only time it wouldn't is if it was in the township.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Miller?
So, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. English, how much will it cost to reconfigure the road so that the bridge is no longer necessary And who will cover that cost?
That's part of this construction contract. So that, this construction contract is taking out the bridge and building that road connection. And then it puts a signal where the road connects in to Miles, it puts a signal to.
And how much would it have cost if we had replaced the bridge?
We had estimated 2.5 million to replace the bridge. And then again, there's constant maintenance costs in the future.
So this saves us approximately $1 million in construction costs, plus it saves us the cost of ongoing maintenance.
Correct.
Councilman Sweeney. Oh, I'm sorry.
Through the chair to Nicole, so in eliminating the bridge, that took the city to the city council to vote on that. How long did that process take?
The village of Bentleyville. So we did, because we had to have an agreement with them up front. So I want to say that was probably a couple years ago that we first approached them, and they were pretty interested and willing, and they liked that connection too, the new connection, and the way it worked, and giving the metro parks kind of more trail room. So everybody was in agreement. It really wasn't difficult to get through the city. And we are installing a signal. That was one of the pieces they wanted to be sure, because where the road comes in now to Miles, they felt like it needed a signal because of the sight distance and in the parks, and if more pedestrians now are crossing. So we agreed to do that as part of the project.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Nicole, just for clarification, so it's the demo of the bridge,
Correct.
installation of the road,
Correct.
as well as traffic signal?
Correct.
Wow.
Yep.
Excellent. Is this time sensitive?
Yes, unfortunately, a couple of these got caught up in the Infor system, and so they actually closed bidding a decent time ago, and so there is that 60-day rule in ORC we're trying to meet. So we would appreciate second reading suspension on all of the next 3, so.
Okay. Do I have anyone making a motion?
I'll make a motion to move this to the full council under second reading suspension.
Second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great, thank you very much. Nicole, you're here for 5C also?
Yes.
Janine?
Resolution number 2024-0164, making an award on requisition number 14071 to Carvo Companies in the amount not to exceed $1,047,176.68 for resurfacing of Sheldon Road from Engle Road to Smith Road in the cities of Brook Park and Middleburg Heights in connection with the 2021-2024 Transportation Improvement Program.
Nicole English again with Public Works. So this is another construction award. This project is federally funded through NOACA on their tip. So this is one of the projects where NOACA funds approximately 80% upfront. Sometimes depending on where the estimate comes out, the percentage gets a little bit less, but this will end up at 76%. And then we offer to run the construction for the city, and then we split the non-federal share with the city. So that's what we've done here. This project was bid out. The estimate was a little bit under 1.5 million. The bid came in just over $1 million. So this one is, I want to say, the percent under is quite a bit, 29% under the engineer's estimate. So this got a pretty good bid. There was 7 bids, so we felt like we had good competition on this one. It is being paid for 76% is NOACA federal funding. We have an issue 1 grant of 20%, and then we're splitting the non-federal and non-grant share 2% each, us and then the cities. So we're getting a pretty good deal on this one. Because it's a federally funded job, the ODOT sets the diversity goals, and they did meet the set goals.
Great. Do we have any questions or comments from council? No questions? Okay. And Nicole, how are we looking at this?
Also, second reading suspension would be helpful with the construction season upon us.
Okay. Motion to,
So moved.
thank you, Councilman
Second.
Sweeney. Thank you, Councilman Miller. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Nicole. And with that, Janine, we move on to the last item today, 5D.
Resolution number 2024-0165, making an award on requisition number 13886 to Vondra Brothers Construction in the amount not to exceed $1,580,963.85 for resurfacing of Grant Avenue from East 49th Street to East 71st Street in the City of Cleveland and Village of Cuyahoga Heights in connection with the 2021-2024 Transportation Improvement Program.
Nicole English with Public Works. The last one here is another construction award. This one received 6 bids. It's also federally funded through the TIP, and so it was, the DBE goals were set by ODOT and are met by Vandra Brothers. There was 6 bids. It came in 3% under the estimate, and the bid were around 1.5 million. To specialized, the total share in federal funding, this one ends up being 68% federally funded, 22% we got out of OPWC Issue 1 funding grant, and then we're splitting 5% county, 5% to the cities on this project.
Open the floor. Any questions or comments regarding item 5D?
Yes. Yes,
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Chair.
Councilwoman, yes.
Through the chair to Ms. English, this sits in a couple of districts, so what districts does this one fall in?
We show 8.
District
it's-
8?
That's what we have on the fact sheet. It's right around,
So is that over
77.
there in that Slavic Village area, maybe?
you know, if this helps you.
I'll add my name just in case.
Yeah. Oh, then we show 7 and 8 on the
Yeah.
legislation that went through for the construction award.
And-
So maybe it is touching both.
And just in all of these in general, so I don't think I've ever noticed that we've had 2 companies working on 2 different projects at the same time. But does that happen sometimes? Where, because you know, when
Do you
you're
mean-
when you're a traveler and there's some road work on the freeway
Yeah.
or the bridge, it seems to take forever for it to get done, and
Yeah.
so you wonder why there's not constant movement on that construction, and if they're working on another project somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, they bid their amount, assuming they can do the work with the schedule that we have, so they have to commit to our schedule, so they hopefully have the team to do it. But as far as I know, we hear not doing work. Councilman Miller knows well aware of the Cedar Point Road Bridge that we often hear. But sometimes there's projects that are complicated. They have to pour the concrete and it needs to set for 14 days, so you can't really do anything in the meantime. So the public doesn't always know what's going on, or, you know, the beam has to be delivered, and so they're waiting for something to happen. So while they look like they're not working and there's, you know, barrels up, sometimes there's a reason behind it. Now, other times there could be that their workforce isn't all there. Some of our jobs, they work 410s because that's more efficient for them. Then they can go to a different job for a day or if they need to fill in. So every project kind of has a different reason for things happening, but we do set a schedule and they have to commit to that. And if they go over, they're not necessarily entitled to any more money. You know, that's on them. There could be fees related if they don't hit our schedule. So we try our best to keep our projects moving. These road projects, they go pretty good once they get started, especially the weather, knock on wood. I know I see some rain in the forecast, but we've had a really nice spring so far for projects that are going on, and so we've gotten ahead on a lot of our bridge projects that were already started. So hopefully the weather cooperates as well. So
When does this one start?
this one is set to start as soon as we get authority and the contract signed. We'll start it. So we're showing 6/17. So I think that was assuming when it gets approved from council, and it should be a 1-year project. Be done sometime next spring with follow, you know, they normally have to do plantings and stuff in this spring, grass.
Thank you.
Comments?
And again, second
I
reading
thought so.
suspension if possible with these construction. You'll see, the spring is rough for us. We try to get these through and just get everyone out working.
Okay, do I have a motion to,
Make a motion to move this to the full council under second reading suspension.
thank you, Councilwoman, thank you, Councilwoman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Excellent, thank you, Nicole. Move on to item number 6. Do we have any miscellaneous business? Not hearing any.
Mr. Chair, can I ask if Janine got my name added? Thank you on that last one. Thank you.
Good. With that, we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much.